Hi, my name's Andrew Booth from ABBC Building Inspectors. I'm here talking with Jeremy about the 10-year maintenance plans. At the start of May this year, regulations were introduced into the strata community that made it compulsory for some strata companies to have maintenance plans. And those strata companies are ones that have more than 10 lots or are worth more than $5 million in replacement value. Strata companies are facing the challenge of trying to find a competent inspector, they're trying to find an experienced inspector, and they're trying to find someone that has resources to be able to get it done in a timely manner. They're also facing conflicting information by having people presenting sinking fund reports and representing them as 10-year maintenance plans. And in general, we see that strata companies are being faced with 3 quotes, which are an apple, an orange and a banana, rather than 3 apples. So the purpose of this video is really to try and help those strata companies get 3 apples, and then they can make good decisions. Well, as with all new things, new markets, there's the opportunity for unscrupulous people to take advantage of that. And what we're seeing is that there are number one, people have no experience or are, they're not qualified to be doing the work that they're purporting to be able to do. Or there are other people that are rebadging what they've always done and passing them off as 10-year maintenance plans. And it's important that the customer gets something that reflects what's required in the regulation. Otherwise they're going to be trying to use a plan that isn't really by somebody that's qualified. The strata companies need to look for somebody that has a qualification in building in their inspector, preferably a registered builder, because the inspector needs to be able to dissect the actual building. You know, he needs to be able to look at every trade in the building. He needs to be able to build in his mind the building that's there. And if the person doing the inspection comes from a particular trade, they might know painting very well, or they may know tiling very well, but they don't necessarily appreciate the whole building. All of the ABBC inspectors are registered builders. All of them have had their own construction companies in the past. I have a civil engineering degree. Brian has a degree in construction management. So we're all got the technical experience to be able to do the job. I've been inspecting since 2004. Brian's been inspecting since 2006. The other inspectors have been inspecting for many years. So that's what I mean by a competent inspector. The difference between a qualified inspector and an experienced inspector, you can't just walk off the tools and into the job as being an inspector without having a learning curve in terms of being an inspector. You know, there are things that you see in properties that are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, things related to sagging, related to weathering, that when you initially start inspecting makes you question whether there's actually something wrong, or whether it's just a function of age or a function of the weather. And it's only once you've done probably 500 inspections that you really get comfortable in your own skin that what you're seeing is actually a problem. So, and that's what our customers are looking for, is to know that what's identified in the report is actually a problem, and it's a problem that they should be acting on in the next 10 years. Well, the figures are from Landgate that there's at least 15,000 properties that are going to need this type of report. Talking to strata managers, it's possibly more. On top of that, building inspectors already have a base load of work. You know, we're already doing pre-purchase inspections, under construction inspections, dilapidation surveys, building commission reports. There's all those sorts of inspections that are happening as well. If your strata company decides to go with a one-man band, then perhaps they're not going to get the report done in a timely manner. And particularly if that one-man band has previously committed to doing a $30,000, 180 apartment, 10-year maintenance plan for some other strata company. You know, that's going to tie them up for 3 to 4 weeks, one man, just doing that report. So I think it's important that you choose a company that has the resources to be able to send a competent, qualified inspector there and be able to produce the report in a timely manner. And by timely, I mean usually 1 to 2 weeks is when we'd like to be turning these reports around. Some of the bigger properties, yeah, they'll take 3 or 4 weeks to be able to produce the report. ABBC, well, we have 2 full-time and 3 part-time inspectors. So we believe that we can handle most of what's being thrown at us. Regulations to the Act are quite specific in describing that not only should there be a costings of the maintenance, there should also be a condition report. And by that, it's really knowing exactly what are the current defects, what is there that needs to be rectified now, what needs to be rectified in the next 10 years. And the Act also, or the regulations also talk about the foreseeable future. So what is there that foreseeably needs to be done? Now we're seeing quotes being put out there for sinking funds being labelled directly as 10-year maintenance plans, and we think that's pretty misleading. A sinking fund does have its place in the industry, and it's usually just a theoretical estimator's view of these are the life cycle of, say, the windows or the roof or the paving or the gutters and downpipes over an extended period, but it's pretty well only valid for the first 1 or 2 years of the building's life. Once these properties start being used and we get further down the track, 5, 6, 10, 15 years, these properties are suffering from wear and tear from the actual owners, but they're also, some of the inherent building faults that might have been there from the start are starting to become obvious. And those are the things that need to be addressed, and those are the things that need to be in the plan. We do undertake a full defects inspection. Our inspectors do open and shut doors, do get on the roof to have a look at the property. They do go through the grounds, look at the fences, look at the retaining walls, look at the swimming pools, take an inventory of the weights in the gym. We are going right through the property to work out what's there and what's not, and what condition it is, and whether it's good, bad or indifferent. And that's the difference between us and a sinking fund. I think it's peace of mind for the owner, knowing that their asset's going to be maintained according to a plan. There's going to be funds expended that are going to improve the amenity and improve the visual characteristics and improve the life of their asset. It's also going to give a good presentation of that asset in case it needs to be sold. And the really important thing for particularly investors is over a period of time there will be a nest egg developed behind the property. So when you're buying into an apartment complex that's some years down the track from having this fund in place, there will be $20, $30, $40, $80,000 sitting behind that apartment, underpinning the value of that apartment. So, when you walk in, you may think that some of the maintenance needs to be done in the future. Well, that's right, it does need to be done in the future, and there are the funds sitting behind that property that you're buying that enables you to do that maintenance in the future. So I think confidence is the prime benefit in getting the right inspection company to do the job, and also getting the maintenance plan right, and then in turn the Strata Company following that report. The Strata Company has to have the 10-year maintenance plan in place within 12 months of their next AGM. So if your AGM is in September, you've got till September next year to have it in place. But if you don't have it in place, then the reality is you won't be able to sell the property, because if you want to sell your property, your selling agent is going to be asking you for a copy of the 10-year plan so that they can then give it to the purchaser, so the purchaser can make an informed decision. And that has 2 parts to it. A, there has to be a plan, but B, they will be looking as they walk around the complex to see that the plan has been implemented, to see that, hey, they've resurfaced the car park and that was due to be done last year. Great, it's been done. Somebody's following the plan. Well, firstly, I'd be seeking qualifications in building. Preferably they're a registered builder. If they've got associated extra qualifications, great. Secondly, I think it's important that they have experience in actually inspecting, because they need to know, and you need to know, is it normal weathering, is it normal sagging, or is there indeed an underlying fundamental problem? The third part of it would be insurance, making sure that your inspector has professional indemnity insurance. And finally, I'd be making sure that you're not getting a sinking fund, but that you are getting a 10-year maintenance plan. A 10-year maintenance plan is really the only way of knowing about what the current defects are and being able to respond to those current defects, rather than just having a theoretical pot shot at what might happen in the future. I'm Andrew Booth from ABBC Building Inspectors, and I'm looking forward to talking to Strata Companies that are serious about the maintenance, serious about knowing the extent of the problems in their buildings, if there are any, and working with someone who can help them do something about it. Thank you for your time.